Of the SoCal Prep Report, with your little Bob Gibson and Randy Rosenbloom joining us shortly with LA City Section News. But Bob, I don't know what the bigger story was this week. The big story was supposed to be the #1 game, playing #2. The game of the year for the second time in 3 weeks.
Right?
And then there's the lightning storm. That was another big story this week.
Come on.
Everybody got canceled.
Lightning storm.
All right, there's a few guys that snuck it in. I don't know how they did it, but look at that storm, Bob. Just beautiful.
It was crazy. There were games getting canceled.
There's downtown Compton right there. You just saw the lightning over the skyline. They have those big buildings right there, nice trees. There's the valley.
We got
Rosenbloom's house over there.
We got games that ended in ties. We got games that'll never happen. We got games that were just suspended till Monday. What a mess, man. I don't even know if CIF in any way, shape, or form, no matter what section you are, I don't know if anybody had a plan for this going on.
Happy Halloween, baby. You brought a little thunder and lightning with us.
Love it.
Look, I was shocked as all heck that this game was canceled. I was getting calls. I have many press agents calling me from the modern-day Bosco game, getting some last-second stuff, right? Hey, Rich, what do you think? What do you think? Well, as we all know, I was the only one on this group here that predict Bosco would win the big game. Bob, you were modern day all the way. Rosenbloom said modern day last week. Mo said modern day. Man, what can I tell you? Bosco came away with the big win. Of course I was right. Got hindsight, right?
100%. 100%.
Oh, man.
Look, congratulations to the Braves. They dominated modern day in every aspect of this football game.
That's not the big story.
Up and down.
We'll get to it. You're way ahead of the game right now.
I'm burying the lead.
All right. So I'm sorry, Bob. It's not the lead. The lead got knocked out. Now, had we been on the air Friday, we could have told you the story, but we weren't. All right. Now everybody's getting it. The big story is Mission Viejo, Bob.
Oh!
Mission Viejo
the
has
Diablos.
to forfeit 4 games.
Oops.
4 big games. Right there. There you're going to see them right there. All those big victories forfeited now. Hey, it was only 4 games. It wasn't all 8, all right? But anyways, they're 4-4 right now.
I was just going to say.
Allegedly, Mission Viejo turned themselves in.
Everybody does now.
Let me give you the translation, all right? It's like a coach that says, I'm here forever, like Mike Scioscia. That tells me that somebody in the league knew about it. Probably told the coaching staff over at Mission that either you turn yourselves in now, or we're going to turn you in right when the playoffs start, because that happens a lot. Believe it or not, there's so much politics in high school sports, in particular, football and basketball in particular, that if an opposing team in your league knows you had an ineligible player, and they know because all these athletes talk, they all hang out together. Remember, they're all bros now. So, they knew about it, so they had to turn themselves in. I don't know a school, Bob, that would turn themselves in or has turned themselves in.
No,
without being forced.
No, and you know for sure. Back in the day, you're right. This would have happened right before the playoffs.
Right before the playoffs.
Somebody would have just absolutely said, guess what? We have some evidence that this didn't happen. Yep. But after the Bosco Modern Day game, here was the tweet from the head coach of those Mission Viejo Diablos, talking about congratulations to my guys at Bosco. Don't forget, he's the former offensive coordinator at St. John Bosco, for doing it the right way.
What does that mean, the right way?
It can be done the right way.
Now, 600 transfers in one league in one season, that's the right way?
To me, right. That's a direct shot right there at Bruce Rawlinson and the Modern Day Monarchs. That's exactly what
Bob
that
Johnson
is.
dislikes.
But this isn't Bob Johnson anymore.
It doesn't matter.
Chad Johnson,
it's his
the
son.
new head
What do you
coach.
think? He's not going to stick up for his dad?
No
Are you
relation.
kidding me?
No relation. But here's the thing.
Just kidding.
Right. They're all named Johnson and Mission Viejo these days.
Can't we have some fun?
But here's the thing. You're right. Everybody has 1,200 transfers across the Trinity. Not only Trinity League.
South Coast.
You don't think
everywhere.
You don't think Mission Viejo's gotten their fair share of transfers and will get their fair share of transfers. So to say, hey, congratulations, you did it the right way. Look, I'm not saying there's any improprieties or anybody's doing anything wrong. If you get accrued transfers, you get accrued transfers. Those are the rules now. You could transfer wherever you want.
Yes, you
can.
But
to take a shot like that, and Jason Negro has always been a big fan of Bruce Rawlinson and the Modern Day program. So I think it shines badly, I think, on Coach Negro, which is unfair, I think, to him as well. So I think this is a shot that didn't need to be taken by Chad Johnson, and I wonder if he would take it back if he had the chance. But Negro and Rawlinson have always had a really good relationship, a lot of respect between those two head coaches. And this just, I think, just reflects poorly on the Bosco program right now. After this huge win, it takes some of the spotlight off what should be the biggest win in program history. They dominated Mater Dei. They kicked their tails up one side of the field and the other. This was a great win for St. John Bosco.
Well, I think the old regime and Bruce Rawlinson against the new regime, so to speak, and Jason Negro, I think they need each other. You need that hated league rival to keep you fresh. If you could just go through your league like De La Salle every year, at some point you're going to get complacent and you're going to have your tail handed to you. These guys need each other. Of course, they're going to be respectful. They've been getting each other, the best of each other every year. Nobody stays on top in this league very long with these two schools in there. So it'll be interesting to see. People have a hard time following the show because we do a lot of tongue-in-cheek. We are the kings of hyperbole. But once in a while, a good tidbit there, Bob. I like the way you pulled out that tweet because I did not see that.
Well,
I stay away from the dirt.
Was it necessary?
I stay out of the gutter.
But you're right, though. What this does is this sets up, again, Mater Dei,
two.
Bosco, round two. And you never know. In the playoffs, you never know. Mater Dei got kind of pushed down now. Could we see a Mater Dei Mission Viejo matchup in the play? You never know. These things could.
Wow.
How much fun
I didn't
would
even
that be?
think about that.
No. This could happen now.
We were talking to Rosenbloom about all the possibilities before we went on the air right now about what's going to happen. But this is one scenario that did not come up. We did not talk about after the smack talking in the tweet. See, that's why Twitter's bad. So they have that Twitter, man. I mean,
Twitter's forever.
Everybody wants to stick it to somebody, but sometimes you just have to pull back the reins a little bit and be cool, baby. All right, so big story. Mater Dei and Bosco done. Bosco annihilates them. Bosco, the new #1, undisputed, indisputable. Any other adjective or anything you want to add to that to describe how good they are? It's Bosco deserved it.
Absolutely.
41-18 is so convincing. It's so convincing. And Mater Dei was a favorite by 9.5, brother. There was a line on this game. There's a line on everything in America.
I'm sure there was a line on it.
9.5 points.
Here's the funny thing. Talking about scenarios, nobody even ever considered Jay Serra and Mater Dei. We'll talk about that game later on. Those two played each other this week. Don't forget, Jay Serra played Bosco to within 7 points a couple of weeks ago. What if Jay Serra pulled off the upset and beat Mater? Mater Dei could be the third-place team out of the Trinity League.
Well, we're going to
put that in your pipe and smoke.
We're going to talk about that. That's a good one coming out of Bob. Anyways, that is a very good game. We don't know. There's no guarantee that Mater Dei is going to win this game. It could be a trap game for both teams this week. It could be a trap game. Bosco riding high now. Get the cool chill down a little bit. And you got Mater Dei that's just licking their wounds. They can't believe they just lost the national championship because there's no way they're going to get it back.
And now they got to play Jay Serra. Jay Serra's had a great season. Jay Serra's a very good football team. Don't sleep on Jay Serra. The Lions are coming for Mater Dei now. They smell blood in the water. They're coming for it.
Real quick, you got Corona Centennial, Mater Dei, Bosco, and Mission Viejo. Those are my 4 right now that I think we're going to see in the semis. If 3 of them don't end up in the upper bracket, they're going to have to split those 4 up, man. It wouldn't be fair otherwise. And then, like Randy was saying, what about Oaks Christian? You were saying, what about Oaks Christian? What about Oaks Christian? Do you really think they're at the level of a Mater Dei and Bosco?
No, I do not.
Already?
No, I don't think
so.
I do not. I don't think they're at that level, no.
Because that league, that Trinity League is so rough. It is every week is a Super Bowl week. It's tough, man, and you got to be on your game.
Oaks might win a game in the Trinity.
Yeah, they might get
Oaks
one.
might take one.
Nah, they might take 2. I'll give them 2.
Maybe.
Why not? They'll get Servite.
All right. They'll get Servite. And they might get Santa Margarita.
Yeah.
Might.
This year.
We'll see. We would see.
All right, enough of this nonsense. That's some of the top stories coming out of this weekend. All right, let's take a look now at the No Love Club. All right, have a look see what happened here. Catella still on top, my brother. They won last week 62-0 against Century, I think it was, and this week they beat I don't know who it was, but it was 60-0. I mean, it's just
the Knights just keep on rolling.
They keep rolling, Bob. You know these guys. They beat Magnolia 60-0. Garfield 35-7 over Southgate, number 2 spot. Followed by South Hills, another 35-7 win over Diamond Ranch. Ocean View, Huntington Beach, 49-7 over Godinez. Ocean View 8-0, Bob. I think that's the first time in their history.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you took the words right out of my mouth. First time in school history, Ocean View has had this far of an undefeated start in the history of the school. And that's Ocean View is a really good school. They have a lot of great sports programs there. So I was surprised when I saw that.
Now, the school's new. It's only 3 years old, but this is the best in their history, Bob, right? Oh, no, this school's like 80 years old. I'm sorry.
Right.
Wrong Ocean View.
Ocean View's they're over in Huntington Beach there and been there, probably 70 years, I'm going to guess.
All right, Mr. Huntington Beach Bob here. All right, continuing on, we have Heritage Christian. They rolled over Whittier Christian 54-0. Hey, Randy, did that make your light up the scoreboard segment this week, 54-0? Kind of weak, huh? Northview continued to win 33-12 over Covina. They're 8-0. Big Bear had the bye week. Luckily for everybody else in the Southern California, because Big Bear just comes up and just beats people up. All right? So that is your No Love Club for this week. I got a couple more guys I want to put in there, but we'll see what happens next week, Bob, because next week, it's it.
It's funny, we call it the No Love Club, but we actually give them the love by creating the No Love Club.
Absolutely. Bob, these teams, wait a minute now. When we get to the Southern Section top 10, there's such a shakeup this week, Bob. You're not going to believe who's in this top 10 this week. All right? Let's take a look at it now. Throw it up. All right, Bosco deserves to be there by virtue of defeating Mater Dei handily, I might add. And then you have Corona Centennial, number 2. Corona Centennial hasn't really been challenged by anybody all season. They played some pretty good teams this year. Mater Dei 6-2. One loss was the forfeit. The other one legitimately to Bosco. Mission Viejo follows up at 4-4. That's the best 4-4 team in the history of high school sports right there, Bob. Right there, 4-4. But you realize this team was number 12 last week in the nation's polls, pretty in aggregate, okay? So now I don't know what's going to happen. Oaks Christian at 8-0. I don't think they could beat Mission Viejo, but I'd like to see them play. Jay Serra has Mater Dei this week. That could be a trap game for the Monarchs. Villa Park keeps rolling. Upland keeps rolling. Calabasas into the top 10 now. We're going to preview their game later on when they play Oaks Christian, Bob.
That's going to be a great game.
Right, yeah.
That's going to be fun.
And number 10, Catella.
Wait a minute. We just said no love. Now we gave them love.
We're going to give them love this week. This will be the first and last time you'll see them in both polls. Listen, man, these guys are steamrolling everybody. They're averaging 60-something odd points a game. They're not allowing their opposition any points. They're defending state champions. These guys just might be as good as St. John Bosco. How about that, Bob?
Wow.
Is that bold or what?
According to this, they're the 1, 2, 3, 4th best team in Orange County. I like that.
Not bad, huh?
Well,
Bob, nobody's
fifth.
beat.
Sorry, 5th. I forgot Villa Park.
They haven't lost
best team.
They haven't lost a game since 2016.
5 of our top 10 Orange County teams. What does that say?
Bob, 2016 was the last time Catella lost a game.
That says a lot.
All right? That's all I got to say. That's hard to do. I don't
Put them
care
in there.
who
They
you
belong.
are.
They've earned it.
So there you go. Top 10, Catella.
They've earned
all
it.
right? Thank you very much. All right, where are we going from here, Bob? Oh, let's see. Do we have Carlos Pena?
Carlos
Yes. All right. Joining us now will be a report from the high desert and Mr. Carlos Pena.
Hey folks, welcome to this week's SoCal Prep Report. I'm Carlos Pena, and tonight I'm bringing you Granite Hills taking on Barstow. Now Granite Hills still has a long road ahead of them. They have to play Silverado and Adelanto. Let's go straight to the action, see how they do tonight. First quarter action, and Barstow strikes first. Hobbs gets the ball and runs it in for a quick score. Point after is good, Barstow 7. With 6 minutes to go in the first quarter, Granite Hills' Feliciano Hernandez connects with a 45-yard pass to Zach Milliken for a touchdown. Point after was missed, 7-6 Barstow. Feliciano Hernandez will complete another touchdown pass to Angelo Guy, which followed by a 2-point conversion by Tashawn Brown, 27 Granite Hills. Tashawn Brown was not done for the night. 6 minutes left in the second quarter, and he rushes for a touchdown, 26-7 Granite Hills. Still in the second quarter, and Feliciano Hernandez connects with Tashawn Brown, who will run it in for a 50-yard pass touchdown. Point after was good, 33-7 Granite Hills. With 2 minutes left in the quarter, Barstow's Montal Rabb hands it off to Nathan Clark, who turned the corner and ran it in for 50 yards, touchdown, 33-14. Granite Hills answers right back to Sean Brown with a 1-yard rush, 40-14 at the half. Second half, and Barstow came out and forced a fumble. Draylon Johnson recovers in the end zone, 40-21 after PAT. The Aztecs move the ball down the field with their next possession. Quarterback Montal Rabb ran it in. Point after is good, 40-28. Granite Hills' Feliciano Hernandez would complete a 5-yard pass to Mike Gutierrez with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, extending the lead 47-28. But Barstow would not go down quietly as Nathan Clark took the team down the field and handed off to Jacob Shoemake for a touchdown. Final score, Granite Hills 47, Barstow 35. Let's hear what Coach Gonzales had to say. Hey, I'm here with Coach Gonzales. Coach, congratulations on a good win there. How do you feel about that win?
I feel good. I mean, I think we started off real strong, and then we made it really close at the end. So
yeah. I'm
just proud of the boys and how they, overcome adversity and keep playing hard all the way through.
Yeah, I saw you, less than 4 minutes, onside kick, Barstow recovered. They had a little momentum going. I saw you looking at the clock. What were your thoughts there?
I just was calculating the points, and I noticed it's still a 2-point game or a 2-possession game. So. Yeah. Immediately I called a timeout, and the clock wasn't a reason why. It was just mostly because I had to keep my kids grounded. So I called a timeout, and I just spoke to them like, hey, man, you guys can make this stop and get out of here, and we'll still be victorious no matter what happens.
Yeah.
So
Good deal, good deal. So season's ending, Desert Sky League, very tough league. You still have Silverado, the spark plug of the league, and Adelanto, the Saints. I mean, these guys are on fire. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think we're as good as anybody, to be honest. I think we have a really good balanced attack. We can run the ball, we pass the ball, we do all that. Just today it seemed like we gave up penalties. And we knew since the beginning of the year that we were going to make some noise this year, and we know Silverado is who this league runs through. So it's hard for my boys when they're watching Barstow on film to not see what Silverado's doing, and they're already kind of ready for it, and they're already thinking about it. So I'm excited because this is going to be an interesting.
Yeah, you got two tough teams ahead of you. I mean, Adelanto turned it around from last year with Coach. Congratulations again. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
See you then.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, there you go. Back to you in the studio.
All right, welcome back. Joining me now. Oh, by the way, thank you, Carlos. Joining me now is Randy Rosenbloom with the City Section. Randy, what's been happening this week? What's going on?
Are you kidding? This is the game of the year.
That's what I'm. Well, Randy, we have a game of the year every.
No, this would be the game of the century.
Oh my Lord. Okay, tell us about it. Do tell.
It's Franklin, right? They've been undefeated all season long, and they're going to play host to Eagle Rock, who's undefeated. At stake is not only the Northern League Championship and the continuation of being undefeated, but an opportunity, in all probability, to go into the Open Division and challenge a Narbonne, a Garfield, and teams of that ilk. There it is, Eagle Rock and Franklin.
You're not kidding. You're not kidding.
Yeah.
These guys should be in the No Love Club next week.
They really should. You know
that
I've been lobbying for that.
All right.
And then we have Fairfax and Venice on that other key game this week. Interestingly enough, there are two teams in the Western League. They're tied for first place, along with Palisades and Westchester. So there's 2 weeks left in the Western League, and there are 4 teams tied for first.
Wow, that is amazing. Well, you know, nobody likes parity except in high school football. I give you that much.
Yeah, well, we love parity in the Western League. And Westchester last week won a huge game. They came from behind and they beat Fairfax, and then we had Palisades do the same thing and knock off Venice, which turned that league upside down. And it kind of reflects my top 10 here in the SoCal Prep Report City section. Narbonne didn't play last week. They have Gardena this week. They should blow them out. Garfield, what's interesting, we talk so much about Garfield, the No Love Club, and how great their offense is. Well, their defense has 40 sacks this year and 13 interceptions, so they're playing exceptional football. There's Eagle Rock, Nathan Gonzales, tremendous quarterback. San Fernando continues to roll in the San Fernando Valley. There's Birmingham, another team too strong for everybody in the West Valley. Palisades off the huge victory against Venice. After the storm, they came back and rallied to win. There's Franklin and Reseda. Reseda, what I love about Reseda, this is their last week of football before the playoffs. They play Van Nuys, and their season is over already after this week, and they'll have to sit around and wait for the playoffs.
Interesting, man. The city section, a little crazy. It's kind of upside down, you know what, because the traditional teams aren't there this year. They're not, with the exception of Narbonne, who was a late starter, Crenshaw, Dorsey, you know, we're used to seeing the Crenshaw and Dorseys pretty much dominate city, but it's not happening this year, Randy. You got a bunch of new faces in there that are doing some good stuff.
Yeah, the interesting thing is Crenshaw and Dorsey are now starting to win in the Coliseum League. Dorsey had a huge win over Locke last week, and if you were putting the odds out, they covered. They probably would have been a 7 to 10 point favorite, and they beat them handily. So Dorsey and Crenshaw will set up for that championship of the Coliseum League later in the year, and the winner of that game will get in the Open Division. Another note, I do want to talk about high school volleyball in the LA City section, because some teams have done some great things. They're going to have their seeding committee later in the week, and they're going to pick the top teams for the tournament. Look what Carson has done in the Marine League. They went 10-0 this year. They swept every match, and they have won 63 consecutive matches in that league over the years. A team they beat in 5 earlier this year, Palisades, went 12-0 in the Western League, and they lost but 1 set. That was to Venice throughout the entire Western League season. And Eagle Rock, 10-0 in the Northern League. There's that Northern League power again in Eagle Rock in many different sports. These are girls volleyball now. 8 straight titles in the Northern League for Tim Bergeron's team. And you can see a long, long match winning streak of 85. Now the number 1 team going into the playoffs will be Granada Hills, who's on a long winning streak. They've won 14 straight matches. They won the West Valley. Taft will probably be the number 3 team in the tournament. But the 3 teams you're looking at right now in Carson, Palisades, and Eagle Rock are deserving challengers come tournament time.
Interesting. Now, Randy, how does the city section stack up to Southern section? I know the Southern section is so much bigger, so it's not really good for comparison, but team-wise, they got to be pretty competitive.
I don't think they are in girls volleyball. They're a long way from the Southern section.
It's so big, though, Randy. 500 against like a 90 school.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally, like we had Eagle Rock up there a few years ago. They had a really good boys volleyball team that won a couple matches in the state tournament. Palisades has been the greatest school in city section history in both girls and boys volleyball. Over the years, they've been able to compete. But again, if you start talking about the Olus and the Modern Days and the Santa Margarita, I mean, you can go on and on with all the great teams in the Southern section. They cannot compete. One last note before I leave on the city section. John Aguirre is going to step down at the end of the year, end of the school year, as the commissioner of the section. So now they're taking applications for the job at the LA City section office. And I think Rich Estrella is going to try to become the LA City commissioner. Now they're going to have that opportunity. The applications, you can get it to the office. You have until November 1st to get in your application. And perhaps Rich Estrella, I'm voting for Rich as the LA City section commissioner.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Well, you know, it's funny because Robbie Wygod was just talking about taking over the Southern section. Maybe we just combine them, Randy. We'll just make one big old section and that'd be done with it.
You and Rob could be like partners.
I think Rob wants that. He wants to retire before he loses more hair. Just kidding, Coach. Come on now. All right, Robbie. Let's take a look at the national picture real quick. And Bob, come on back up, man. We got to talk about some stuff. Good, Randy, we're going to talk also about the matchups. Hey, real quick in the national report, again, looks a little bit like Southern section. You got Bosco, number 1. They're followed by St. Louis, Hawaii. St. Louis, you know, they're not going to lose any more games. They're just pillaging the islands right now. They're winning their games by an average of 50 points. Very good team. Modern Day Falls the 3rd. Why? Because they played the 2 number 1s back-to-back, all right? Not back-to-back. They had 1 week in between, but they beat IMG, who will never be on here. And, of course, they lost to Bosco. But their schedule is worthy enough to keep them in that top 10. And we're going to talk a little about that. Well, let's just talk about it now. Guys, how much did the weather affect this game? Do you think it had any effect on the final outcome of the Modern Day Bosco game?
Zero effect. I think on Friday night the same outcome would have happened because that's just how dominant Bosco was in this. DJ Uigalele, you know, was just on the money with every one of his passes. The running game with George
Not
Helani.
Everyone, Bob. He threw one a little bit long. Come on.
There was a couple off the fingertips.
Hey, DJ had 5 touchdown passes in that game.
I mean, he just great. George Helani was just running the football. And the thing of watching Modern Day all season long, you knew their defense could be susceptible to a bigger, overpowering offense. It's kind of what happened here because Modern Day's defense a little undersized, very quick. They fly to the ball.
Undersized?
But a little undersized this year compared to past year's teams. But I'll tell you what happened was their offense getting shut down like that. That was the big thing, was Bosco's defense stepping up and really, you know, just making the Modern Day offense look like they kind of at times didn't know what they were doing at times.
Randy, you say what?
Very strange.
Well, I think the weather's overrated a lot of the times. You know, players
But canceling
play
the
football.
game, though, Randy.
Well, here's the key, though. Some of the schools, and many of them in the city section, had to play again on Monday. Now they have to come back on a short week. That's the bigger deal. Because you have some schools in the city section, and probably a few in the southern section, that are on short rest, and now they're playing a high school football game 4 days later. That is a major issue. Forget the weather Friday or through Monday. But the fact that they got to come back and play again, that's an issue.
But in the interest of fairness, everybody's got to come back and play. It's not like the other team had a week off, like playing on Thursday and that, you know, getting Sunday off and playing the following Sunday.
Right.
So they're all in the same boat. My contention is this. When you get ready for a game, you get ready the same way. As a football player, if you're into your sport, in any sport, if you're into it and you're good, it takes a lot of energy mentally to get up and get ready for the game. Once you get all hyped up and you're flying, and then the game gets canceled, it's hard to come down and get back up less than 24 hours later. In La Mirada's case, they played that game at 10 o'clock in the morning, actually beat Bellflower. Bellflower's been scoring 170 points a game, allowing 3, and La Mirada beats them by like 30, and Bellflower was undefeated up until that point.
J. Sarah, Orange Lutheran, same way. 10 o'clock in the morning, and J. Sarah, they put a beat down on Orange Lutheran in their game. I don't know if that playing in the morning had anything to do with it. It could have, but the fact that both teams had to go through it for J. Sarah, for their warm-up game to Modern Day this week, for them to have done that to Orange Lutheran. That says a lot to me.
Well, the big one in the city section was that Venice had a lead against Palisades 10-0 in the second quarter when the weather changed. Now the next day they come out. Palisades stops Venice. It gives them time to game plan. They rally and win the game and throws that whole Western League up in the air. That was a huge change. It was the break in the action that changed the momentum.
Well, like I said, I contend every team's creatures of habit. You do the same things. The champions do the same things the same way all the time. Not just once in a while, all the time. They don't want anything to change. And again, some teams dealt with it better than others. I have a feeling this game would have been different. I'm not saying Mater Dei would have won this game. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying the game would have been more competitive till the end, kind of like the IMG game when those guys had to go down to who had the ball last wins the game.
I think you make a point. I mean, everybody was built up for Friday, right? All the juices were flowing, everything for Friday night, and then it was like, okay, we're not going to play, right? So then you had to build it back up again. So if you're the head coaches, Jason Negro, Bruce Rollinson, you had to get your teams fired back up again a day later. Probably not that hard to do, but you're right. Did Bosco have maybe that little bit? Were they able to get themselves up better than Mater Dei was? We'll never know.
You know, what I like here is we're talking about the weather and the elements. You never do that in Southern California.
Yeah, right.
Most every Friday night it's 70 degrees with not a cloud in the sky. So this is a different impression on a typical Friday. It's changed. Nice. It's kind of refreshing. Yeah. It's like we were in Minnesota or something.
Right.
Out of your comfort zone. All right, let's take a look and finish the top 10. We got a couple things to look at. We got limited time, so let's go look at the top 10 and finish the national. We saw Mater Dei was number 3. Number 4, St. John's at D.C. They won big again this week. Corona Centennial won big again this week. De La Salle won big again this week. Central of Florida also won big this week. We don't have to. Beats in there just to see if somebody will complain about it. Allen, Texas won big this week. And St. Francis, now that they're getting to play somebody, are actually doing a good job. They're 4-0, and they're tearing it up as well.
All right.
All right, let's take a look at the key games of this week. And let's get to them. We have a lot to say. Hello? All right, let's just get into it. Knight Palmdale against Highland. These teams are stablemates. 8-0 against 7-1. That's overall. They're both undefeated in league. This will be a good game. I don't know who will win, but it'll be good.
I was talking about this 2 weeks ago. I was trying to talk to our guy up in the high desert.
Yeah, you were.
I was trying
he blew you
I
off.
said, Pete Knight, tell me what's going on with Pete Knight up there. Well, Pete Knight, by the way.
Randy,
he's going
you
to
say
play
what?
for a
I
championship.
say, well, Paul George went to Knight High School, so I love Paul George. So I'm going to go with Knight High School.
There we go.
Oaks Christian Calabasas, stablemates. There's the overall records. Calabasas was recruit city for about 2 or 3 years when the new regime came in, and Oaks Christian's always been, recruiting. So there you have number 5 against number 9 in CIF. Bob, you say what?
I like Oaks here.
All right, Randy, how about you?
I like Oaks. Bill Riddell really built that program up many years ago. And any school that had Bill Riddell, I got to root for Oaks Christian.
All right, I don't pick. Let's continue. Catella Savannah. Catella in the top 10 this week. No Love Club number 1, taking on Savannah. Catella all the way. I don't see Savannah having a chance in of winning this game.
Now, the Rebels are having a good season out at Savannah High School, but Catella is Catella, man. They are rolling. They believe they can beat anybody.
They might be Lincoln. They might be Lincoln.
I want to see Catella Bosco. Put it on the schedule.
I'll go with Catella as well.
All right, last game we're going to talk about, Mater Dei J. Sarah. This could be a trap game for the Monarchs. They could be so down on themselves. And J. Sarah just says, man, I'd like to just give him a sucker punch and knock him out. That could happen. I don't know. What do you think?
I want to pick J. Sarah so bad in this game because it would be such a great storyline.
It would be.
I can't do it. Mater Dei will win this game. Bruce Rollinson will rally the troops.
Randy?
I like J. Sarah. Throw everything up
Good.
in the air.
Let's do it. Heck
All
yeah.
right.
J. Sarah
Like to thank our sponsors real quick. The Yard House of Brea. There it is, the address. Right there on Brea Boulevard and Imperial Highway. You can't beat it. And we're also sponsored in part by the
KM3 Project,
KM3
right?
Project.
We got KM3.
Look them up. Make a donation to those guys. They do good work for a lot of people.
And don't forget esports.
Esports coming up. All right, maybe not.
Esports.
Oh, we're done. All right, Jerky Zone.
Jerky Zone.
Don't
we
forget
got the Jerky Zone.
JerkyZone.com. On behalf of Randy Rutier. Randy Rutier. Randy
Rosenbloom.
Rosenbloom. I used to work with Randy. Randy Rutier, Randy Rosenbloom.
There it is.
Randy Gibson. And Randy Estrella. I'm saying so long, man. We blew that ending, didn't we?
It was a good ending.
All right, we'll see you guys next week, man. It's all good. And I'm not apologizing.
No, I wouldn't either.